good.
We're good?
Yep.
Okay, I'll call the meeting to order. It's 5 after 5. Just want to acknowledge we have a couple councillors online, Councillor Dean and Councillor Prestige. So
Also, Peter's sharing mine tonight too.
okay, perfect. And we have Councillor Kuchen online. Start with the adoption of the agenda. Any additions from administration? No. Not seeing any. Council, any additions from council? Not seeing any additions. If I can get a motion, Councillor Burrows.
I'll make a motion that council adopts the agenda as presented.
Thank you. Motion on the floor to adopt the agenda as presented. Call the question. All in favor? Councillor Burrows, or not Burrows, Prestige. Councillor Bruce Prestige. Okay, in favor.
And Peter too.
Okay. Move down to 3.1, adoption of the minutes council meeting from January 29th. Any additions, omissions? Anybody see anything there? Not seeing any. If I can get a motion to accept as presented. Councillor Burrows.
I'll make a motion that council adopts the council minutes, meeting minutes from January 29th as presented.
Thank you, Councillor. Call the question. All in favor?
Peter in favor.
And that's carried. Brings us down to 5.1, bylaw 62225, amending land use bylaw 490-17.
Great.
Whenever you are ready, sir.
Good afternoon, Reeve and Council. So administration, we received a land use amendment for the following quarter section, Southwest 245812, west of the 5th Meridian. There's two neighbors here that are working together to try and rezone their parcels from Agriculture 2 District to Agriculture Rural Estates District. So the applicant, the reason they're seeking to rezone their parcel is that right now they're already at max density for their quarter, and they would like, one of the landowners would like to subdivide out an additional parcel. And the neighbor to the north had agreed, saying that they might be able to, or they might want to subdivide a few parcels out to the north as well in the future. Right now, the direct plan, if the land use amendment is passed, neighbor to the south, the landowner on the south portion of the quarter, is seeking to subdivide a 16-acre parcel from the quarter section. And I've attached a plan of that under the attachments. So land use considerations, so under the A2 zoning, they're maxed out for their density. That's why they're seeking the ARE zoning. So administration, we conducted a site visit in late 2024 to see if there would be a suitable build site for a future proposed parcel. Administration, we were not confident that there was a suitable area in which the applicant can develop that they've identified. So we're recommending that council consider survey confirmation from the applicant to determine that there's a location for a build site on the proposed lot that is located a minimum of 30 meters from a slope that is 30% grade or more, and has sufficient area to build a house and a septic system prior to the adoption of the bylaw. Also under the MDP, the future land use for this parcel is residential in nature. Since the subject parcel has an agriculture land assessment value of 0, the MDP policies related to limiting the subdivision of better ag lands don't apply. In addition to this, based off of the MDP, administration has also recommended that they provide a conceptual plan just showing how in the future this subdivision will get to a residential CR style development. With that being said, is there any questions?
Councillor Dean.
Through the chair, thank you. To Josh. Josh, when I read through the RFD, I note that there are two different applications, two different landowners. So could you just clarify, are we being asked to consider both of these applications?
Yeah, through the chair to Councillor Dean. Yeah, the reason why there's two applications is there was no room to put an additional signature on one application. The two landowners are working together.
Okay.
We don't have to consider it as two separate applications. It will just be covered under one bylaw amendment.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for administration? Not seeing anything. Anybody want to make a motion? Anybody online want to make a motion?
Sure.
Councillor Dean?
I can move, I'll do motion one, that council give first reading to bylaw 622/25, amending Woodlands County Land Use Bylaw 490/17, and require the applicant to provide the following prior to holding second and third reading for bylaw 622/25. Number one, a conceptual scheme on how the subject parcel will become a future country residential subdivision as intended by Woodlands County MDP 611/24, section 3.0, map 2A. And two, that the applicant provide sufficient evidence from a surveyor that there is a location for a build site on the proposed future lot that is located a minimum of 30 meters from a slope that is 30% grade or more and has sufficient area to build a house and septic system.
Right. Josh, you said,
Yeah, my apologies, Reeve. I tried to update this through iCompass, but it seems like the addition did not go through. On motion one there, number one, it should read a conceptual plan, not a conceptual scheme. The difference is the scheme has to be adopted by council, and we don't need that at this point. We just need a plan that a survey can do.
Councillor Dean, would you be okay with a friendly amendment to replace the word scheme in number one to plan? As per.
Of course.
All right. So, motion on the floor. Any discussion on that motion as amended? Not seeing any. I'll call the question. All in favor? And that one's carried.
And Peter,
And then we have a second motion to go along with this. Councillor?
Well, I'll do it.
All right, Councillor Burrows.
Motion two, and that the applicant provides sufficient, sorry, can I just check one thing, Mr. Chair? Is there anything that didn't get changed in this one?
This one's okay.
Okay.
This is a motion to direct administration to hold public.
Just before we go through the awkward
Yeah.
portion of putting this on the floor, so. And that the applicant provide,
Can I, down one step, that number two is part of the first motion. Motion two, the council direct administration to hold a public hearing.
okay, sorry, no. Motion two, that council direct administration to hold a public hearing for the land use amendment application 2024 LUA 02 bylaw 622/25 for March 25th, 2025 at 10:15 a.m. during council's regular council meeting being held at number 1 Woodlands Lane, Whitecourt, Alberta.
Thank you, Councillor. Any discussion on that motion? Councillor Dean?
I believe Councillor Burrows said March 25th, it should be March 12th.
Sorry, if I did say March 25th, I said 6/22/25 for bylaw. March 12th is what I meant to say.
March 12th, 2025.
Yeah.
All right, any other discussion on the motion? We have the date clarified?
It's the night.
Not seeing any, I'll call the, Joan?
We're just confirming here, because I think the March 12th meeting is a night meeting. So we would have to change the time. Sorry, my apologies. I'm just,
That's why I asked.
yeah.
March 12th is a
Yeah, 5
5 o'clock PM meeting.
Yeah.
Do we want to hold a
Usually
public hearing for 6 o'clock?
5:15, 5:30?
5:15, yeah.
5:15.
5:15?
Okay, I'm going to accept a friendly amendment for myself to make it for 5:15 PM during council's regular council meeting being held at number 1 Woodlands Lane.
All right, thank you, Councillor. With that, again, we have an amended motion. Any discussion on that? Not seeing any, I'll call the question. All in favor? Perfect.
Oh,
Right. I see you there, Councillor Coogan. Thank you. That one's carried. 8.1, Old business to rescind Resolution C-1543, 2024.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We'd request that you rescind motion C-1543, 2024. It's a duplicate motion within the minutes, and just a clerical correction. So if we could get a motion to rescind it, we'd appreciate it.
Okay, again, this is just housekeeping. Any discussion on this? Not seeing any. If anybody wants to make a motion, Councillor Burrows.
I'll make a motion that council rescind resolution C-15-43-2024.
Thank you, Councillor. With that, I'll call the question. All in favor? That one's carried. 9.1 Energy Industry Update. Mr. Roach.
Get this. Josh has longer legs than I do. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. Hello, Council. Great to be here in front of you once again. And we have an RFD for your consideration. We have spent a considerable amount of time and effort over the last several years. And by we, I mean collectively, Council and administration, in order for us to better be able to understand and be involved with one of the pillars of our local economy, our energy industry. We know that the energy mix is evolving and changing. Other forms of power generation, energy usage are being used, and we also have a very strong growing demand. So the information in front of you tonight is just a summary of some of the involvement and some of the things that we have done over the last several years. And what we're looking for is basically two things. First is just an opportunity for council to have a bit of further input and to see if there's anything else that we would like to be working on or be involved in at this time. And secondly, there's a number of resources that are attached to this RFD that come from all kinds of outside third-party industry and other sources. And we'd like to be able to put those together as a central repository on the investment attraction part of the county website. So we're just looking for a bit of direction towards that. And I think we have a statement in the RFD that I think summarizes things very nicely, and that is, we encourage all community members to explore all available information, participate in engagement opportunities, and stay involved in discussions that shape our local energy landscape.
Thank you, Bert. Any discussion for Mr. Roach? It's definitely a fairly lengthy list that you brought us there. I think it's nice to see given the way that everything is kind of transitioning and the possibilities that we have here, and not just with these, but also with let's say the power needs of the future, and if we can try to put ourselves in as an economic hub for that, it's definitely nice to see.
Thank you very much, Reeve. And part of the work comes from, and I think we've had council comment at several other meetings and on several occasions, we have been recognized at many events as Woodlands County, with councillors and our councillors in particular being the only elected officials attending certain events. And I think that really helps us to stand out within the industry sector. So thank you, council, and let's just keep up the good work together.
Councillor Dean.
Through the chair to Bert. Bert, the RFD is recommending that council accept this information as information. Are you actually asking us to recommend to administration that this information gets placed on the website, or is accepting as information okay?
Very fair question, and thank you, Councillor Dean. And I do want to clarify, and I thank Tracy for this, for helping me to understand the right language around what we're doing. What we want to do is to receive the information or the items presented as information, which means that we understand that they're out there, that they exist, and that these are resources from third parties. If we accept, it means we're in full agreement. So what we want to do is to say that we want to receive the information as part of the motion. And really, it's just by consensus, if council is okay with us setting up the central repository, as it is likely to change from time to time. I don't think we need a full-on motion. We just sort of wanted to get a consensus that this is the right thing to do, to have a repository around the energy industry on our website.
Okay, thank you. I'd be prepared to make that motion, Reeve.
Okay, Councillor Dean.
So sorry, I just need to go back to the RFD. So I move that Woodlands County Council receives the items presented for information.
Thank you, Counselor. Any discussion on the motion? Not seeing any, I'll call the question. All in favor? Thank you, it's carried.
Thank you, Council.
And thank you for all the work you've been doing for the municipality there, council reports and questions. I'll start with the pair in the one frame there. Councillor Prestige?
I only had two. One was the growth meeting, and the second one was our protective services meeting today. It was an emergency meeting. The province is changing how we do our protective services boards. They're giving us three options. One is to keep doing it the same way we are. The other one is a regional board, and that would be Jasper, Hinton, Edson, Drayton Valley, Whitecourt, and Peace River. We would only have one delegate going to these meetings, and they would probably be held in Grand Prairie or Peace River or someplace. So it would add cost to municipalities to do that, and we would lose the kind of the closeness with our RCMP. As you know, we wouldn't be dealing with just the Whitecourt RCMP, we'd be dealing with one from every place. So the board voted in favor of keeping the same way. We have, I think, about a week or week and a half to finalize it. So that's what we came up with. Lee is going to send Sheldon a bunch of information on it and see where it goes. But it's kind of a vision of centralization, same thing they did with victim services. So, and that's it.
All right, thank you, Councillor Prestige. Any other discussion for Councillor Prestige? Any questions? Not seeing any. Councillor Coogan?
Yeah, I'll defer till the next meeting. I just got back from holidays, so I've had a chance really to go through all of my stuff, so if that's all right.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor. Councillor Dean?
Thanks, Reeve. I had just a single meeting since our last council meeting. That was on January 30th. It was a Golden Triangle meeting. And that organization is actively clearing trails so that participants can travel the Golden Triangle. And as it stands right now, the entire section between Whitecourt, Swan Hills, Fox Creek, and back to Whitecourt is open. Fox Creek held their rally the weekend before last, and Whitecourt is holding their rally Family Day weekend. So kudos to all of those volunteers that make those events happen.
Hey, any questions for Councillor Dean? See any. Councillor Burrows?
I had actually no meetings for Woodlands that came up. I've been really going with the RMA stuff, but provincially, I mean, we're dealing with the increased costs on the police funding model. The assessment model review continues to be a pain. Now we're dealing with the tariff challenges through Canoe as well, with how the dollar's going to end up going. So keep an eye on your procurement processes through all of these different things, which I'm sure you're already doing. That's really about it for me.
Thank you. Any questions for Councillor Burrows? Right. My last couple weeks are actually a little lighter there. We had two meetings, one last night with the Whitecourt Library Board, going through their numbers as far as users year over year and kind of where they are. And they've been fairly steady. You got highs and lows, and last year the numbers were down a little bit. The year behind that was up, and it seems to kind of ride these waves. So everything though, if you look big scale where they are, they're doing what they've been doing and offering the same number of services year over year. So good to see that library there is viable. I just want to give a kind of a little bit of a plug there. They do have a pancake breakfast they're offering on Family Day morning at the Whitecourt Library. So I think it starts at 9 or 10. I'm sorry I didn't bring those times with me, but it is something at the library here they're offering for the public, so it'd be great to see people out for. Other meeting I had was an industry breakfast meeting with a bunch of the industry kind of leaders around the area, and one thing that they wanted to say was thank you for the our municipality and the volume of people that we had that showed up for the AFPA meeting out at the casino. Meant a lot to them just having that connection and having people in the room that, to, I guess, understand the issues and stuff they're dealing with. The other thing that was big across the board with a lot of the individuals and the players that we have in the area is, again, like Councilor Burrow was talking about, is the tariffs and how that'll look and how we're going to navigate that from the region. They all believe that they're set up, they'll be okay. Obviously, there will be some large-scale projects or capital ends that might have to get put off until things kind of level out, but they're not expecting to have any really large-scale impact in the short term anyways. And with that, I would like to give a huge shout out. I know, especially around this area, we always see publicly with the Mustang Hockey Club and what they do in the area, what they do for the public, and it's great with the amount that they get involved from that youth organization and the individuals there for different events around the area. Had the opportunity to connect on a couple occasions now with individuals from the Junior Lightning out of Merithwork, and again, fantastic group, fantastic hockey club, and just the involvement they're trying to do within the community. Met a couple of them at the Insamo area, and again, they were just talking about how welcoming and inviting that area has been for people from out of the area coming in, and they're just very, very comforting for them, especially a couple of them coming from out of province and into here. So it's nice to hear that our communities are incredibly welcoming to new individuals, and just seeing the people and the caliber of these young gentlemen coming in and what they're bringing to the area also has been fantastic. So I wanted to make sure to give a shout out to the Junior Lightning. I think we always hear about the Whitecourt side, and Merithorpe sometimes gets kind of forgotten there too. So I want to make sure I throw that out there. And that's all I got. If there's any questions. Not seeing any. If I could get a motion for council reports. Councilor Burrows.
Make a motion that we accept council reports for information.
Thank you, Councilor. With that, I'll call the question. All in favor? And that's carried. Brings us down to 11.6, the CAO report. Mr. Ferris.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So it's been an eventful 3 weeks. So overall, just still trying to learn the systems and people's names, but I'm getting there. In regards to organizational assessment and strategic direction, I've conducted individual interviews with almost all of our managers just to identify what they have as pressing issues and department priorities and what their team goals are. And then as that comes along, trying to link it to our strategic plan as well as our tactical plan as directed by council to try and reevaluate where we are, also incorporating where your priorities were based on that survey information that you gave me. I also, at the advice of the SLT team, we've reinstated our pre-council agenda reviews. So as a management group, we're now going through the agendas beforehand, just to ensure that we have a full systems of review from all the departments that are reviewing them, and just to make sure that you have the best possible product at the agenda rather than after the fact reviews. Also, I picked back up the benefits review that's been on and off since 2023. I hope by the end of Q2 2025, if not sooner, we should have our benefits review completed, and it's looking like there should be a net savings with potentially increased level of coverage for our staff, which is a good thing. In terms of a high-level policy review, right now there's about 6 different policies that are under review. We're looking at the policy structure and policy authorities just to potentially put a greater emphasis on procedures and standard operating procedures or SOGs, just with a goal of making an update of our policy directives much easier. With some of them are left with administration, then there's definitely an efficiency level. There's also draft versions of clarifying signing authority and also clarifying electronic signing authority. I know you've asked me in particular, you have your electronic signature, why are you signing all the documents? Well, we're just going to clarify some things in policy, hopefully. Also on the tactical plan, we were looking at financial reserve policies, so we got some drafts kicking around on that. There's also a dust control policy that is on draft, which will be at the G&P meeting as well. We've finalized an update for our purchasing policy, which will also be there. There was some discussion about the traffic bylaw that I believe you wanted updated. We are doing that, but what we're going to do that may delay it slightly is there's a bunch of other bylaws that we can incorporate into one master traffic bylaw. And there's also been some deficiencies that staff have flagged internally, which is going to delay the process, but at the end of the day, there's going to be one single traffic bylaw that addresses all traffic-related matters, which we believe is going to be more efficient. Also been working with finance and our asset management team with our ERP and asset management rollout. And also trying to address some capacity challenges we have with some of the project management. What we're finding is some of the questions that the firms are asking us, we don't know what the best answer is, and they're giving us a bunch of different options. And because we don't roll out a new financial software or asset management system every day, we don't know what the right answer is. So within the budget, there is some project managed capacity. So we've been talking to 2 different providers to see what option works best for us, just to get us some added support on making sure that we know what question is what and what answer is the best to give us the most functionality and interrelationships between the 2 systems. Other than that, I've been working with Jennifer on the census because legislatively, if we are to do a census, we need to notify the province by February 28th. Those deadlines are fast approaching, so we're confident we'll make it, but it's something we're working on. And then also working just to try and establish some better procedures on record keeping, particularly in relation to our policies and bylaws. Some of our database had started to be going through as an update, and it has a working version, but finding the true what version is current is a little bit of a slow task, so we're going to be prioritizing that a little bit more. Other than that, Jeff has been nice enough to give me some road tours to develop a better understanding of some of the capital projects and sore spots that are around. I believe I'm at the point where I've been to most locations and met most of the staff. There's still some outstanding, and I'll get that completed in the next week or so. But other than that, just business as usual. But those are the items to note, at least.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Matthew? Councilor Burrows?
Just one, is that, excuse me, is that update on the traffic bylaw, once it comes all under one, does that help our peace officers as well a little bit? Kind of.
Absolutely. And I think from a transparency point of view as well, when you can refer the public to a single bylaw rather than 3 or 4, I think it makes the governance aspect a lot more relatable to the general public because they're going to one location. So it will also make the enforcement clearer.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Matthew? Not seeing any. If I get a motion to move the CEO, Councilor Burrows? So
A
John, should we
motion
do that?
that council receives the CAO report for information.
Thank you, Councilor Burrows. With that, I'll call the question. All in favor? And that's carried. Brings us to our closed meeting portion. Just checking if anybody online wants to get on the board here to go into closed session.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Just looking for a motion to go into closed session. Just seeing if anybody online wants to make a motion here. Councilor Prestige?
I'll make a motion that we go into closed session.
Okay, we have FOIPs 25 and 24. Call the question. All in favor? That's carried. We are going into closed session at 5:35. And let us know when we're good, Aaliyah. We'll finish this up.
You're good.
We're good?
Yep, you're
Okay, we're back out of closed session. We have two motions to finish up here. 12.1 Alberta Forestry and Parks. Councilor Dean.
I apologize, I just lost my agenda and I don't have that RFD in front of me
Okay, I could,
to read it.
I'll make the motion. Council
Okay.
direct administration to allow up to 2 months extension at the current rate of 88 cents per square meter in the current area with no landing fees to allow time for the agreement to be signed if necessary. Any discussion on the motion? Not seeing any. I'll call the question. All in favor? That's carried. And then Councilor Burrows, 12.2.
Yes, 12.2. I would make a motion that council receives the presentation on regulation of timber removal on parcels of land as information.
Thank you, Councilor. With that, I'll call the question. All in favor? That's carried. Brings us to number 13, motion to adjourn. Councilor Burrows? Motion on the floor to adjourn. Call the question. All in favor? And we are adjourned. Thank you very much. 6:26.